morning, everybody. So, we had a good night on the river. We had our first 2 barges pass us in the middle of the night. The first one I stayed up for, and I got some pictures. I'll throw them into the video. I just wanted to make sure it would get past us, and I'm outside of the channel markers, so it wouldn't come by me, and I was good to go. So the sunrises on the river are always, and sunsets are always beautiful. So the plan today is to make it to Winona, Minnesota. We're going to go through Lock and Dam number 5. So that should be pretty interesting. That'll be our 3rd Lock and Dam. Other than that, just keep on moving till we get a little more south and it'll be a little warmer. I think I'll go maybe 2 or 3 more days, and then I might take a half a day to kind of do boat repairs, check the motor, all that kind of stuff, make sure we're doing okay. So I'm gonna get woke up, get back in the cockpit or the cabin, and I'll be back. All right, everybody, I'm back in the cabin. It was a little bit chilly, so I threw on my robe blanket thing that I have, and then my hat for when I went out in the cockpit. And then I got my anchor light down, and I'm kind of doing my morning routine right now where I plug in my batteries so that they can charge. They would probably last 3 or 4 days if I had to. This thing does 4 bars, and they only ever go down 1 or 2 overnight. But I always want to make sure I have them topped off. And then I top off my handheld radio, so when I'm up in the cockpit back there, I can onto my life jacket and have it with me all day, and it has a good charge. And then if anything happens, I don't have to go, oh, radio died. If I had to, though, because it's 12 plug-in, bring it up to the wheel there where I have a 12-volt plug-in and charge it up there if I had to. One of the things I'd like to do, I'm thinking down in about a little south of St. Louis, I have a friend, and I'm gonna maybe get some supplies shipped there. And then when I get there, I can put it on the boat, and I think I'm gonna install not just a handheld VHS, but all the time. And then I can put it, I'm thinking either sideways, right in, where's my finger? Right in here, or, where's my finger again? Underneath right there, but then it'll kind of take up some of the room of the sink. So I'm thinking up there, do it sideways would work the best. They also has a second remote station. You can get a wireless one that you have up at the wheel, or you can have a wired one, and then I could set up one of those little things you grab, a second one from the one that would be in the cabin. And so I'd be able to go, hey, sailing vessel, mellow miles, hailing, whatever. It's kind of fun playing on the you don't really play on it, it's very serious. If you mess around, the Coast Guard will yell at you. I'm using that boat beacon app, and it has AIS, and it reports AIS too to not everybody. I've found out it's only certain people that if they participate with online AIS, like with marine traffic, which is also an app, and some commercial ships use that along with their Class A AIS, or so. I don't know how it works, but I have talked to some people. Like last night, the barge called me on the radio when I was anchored at night and said, Mellow Miles, I see you're anchored down there. Are you out of the channel? And I went, yep. we were good to go. So he saw me on his AIS, or he had to have somehow known what my boat name was, because I only have it on one side and it's facing the opposite way of what he would have been. Oh, I have some sleep in my eye, I just noticed. So yeah, get my morning routine, get my batteries all charged here. I'm gonna eat some breakfast. I'm almost out of Captain Crunch. A couple days I'll have to stop on shore somewhere and get some more boxes of cereal. I have a hard thing, that green thing there, for eggs. And I was gonna bring some from the homestead, but our chicken just had babies, and before that we had the crazy raccoons that got our cat and then a bunch of our chickens, so we didn't have any eggs to take along. So I'm gonna try to get some maybe at my next stop, and then I can keep them in there, and then I'll be able to have some scrambled eggs for breakfast and stuff as well, which would be good. Because after you've been eating canned food and box cereal, some scrambled eggs or some real food would be amazing. So, a beautiful, beautiful sunrise here. One thing that was really, really nice was, because the way we're anchored here and the current's flowing south, it stuck our solar panel directly backwards, and we were able to get a full battery charge. It is, I believe, a 275 watt panel. It can charge max at 16 amps. And we have a 20 watt charge controller, and we have a 200 amp hour battery. And you never want to go below 50% because it's hard on the battery. So we have 100 amp hours a night, hopefully, or 100 amp hours of battery power before we would be starting to go and then you still have that other 50% backup just in case, like to start the motor or whatever. It's a dual purpose battery, so it's hooked to the motor as well, though. That is down behind that board. Before we left, we used to have this open and it was real loud with the motor, so before I left I put a board here and then put some marine carpet on it and some what would you call it, radiant barrier, like the foil stuff that you put in engine compartments, on the other side, and it's really helped with the noise, so that's good. But that also charges, I believe, just the standard regulator rectifier on it to 3 amps. So when I'm going motoring throughout the day, we get a little bit of a charge as well. And having my chart plotter, the phone, and then sometimes I plug in the radio during the day or other random things. Or I have my batteries charging. I use about 2 amps, sometimes 3. So once we get the motor going, we're good. So we have enough power with the motor to make enough to have the chart plotters going, which is the most important thing. So as long as you have the motor going, you're making enough power to have navigation and chart plotter depth under, which are the important things. And then you're making 1 amp hour to charge to the battery, which if you had to do 50 amp hours would, take a couple days, but it's better than nothing. And then solar panel, when that kicks on to 15 amps when we get full sun. I use my TV here behind us, and is about 1.6 amps, and then I charge my phone, and if I have any cabin lights on or anything, once we get the mast stepped, we'll also have our anchor light up on the top of that. And then our navigation lights up front we'll use instead of just the battery operated ones that are up higher. We have ones that are down on the hull, but I've been using the battery operated ones that are up high on the river just so people can see it easier. I'm sure I could use the ones on the hull, but they're tied into the backlight in the back there, and I don't want to have like the big my bar anchor light one I put up and then another one back down there, just in case it would confuse anybody. So anyway, I'm blabbing. Being on a boat for a few days and not talking to anybody, you end up starting to want to just blabby blab. So that's kind of just a rundown of what I do for the solar system and all that for power. A few people were asking in the comments below. And then the trees and stuff, we have wet wipes, or like hand sanitize wipes, or I also have a ton of these that from when my dad was passing away and I was his PCA, the VA gave us a ton of these, and I was going to end up just throwing them out. But then when I was getting ready to go for my trip, I figured, hey, I have a whole box of these in the shed. Maybe I should use these instead of throwing them out. Or I also thought about donating them too, but there wasn't really anywhere around up where I live out in the middle of nowhere on the homestead that I could donate them to. So I just threw them in the shed, and it came to pay off. So I have a ton of these that I'm able to use kind of to do a, what would you call it, a sponge bath or what. And then we have our toilet down here, and I use this stuff to keep it smelling good. You just use this and some water, and then I kind of sometimes just throw a little shot in after every use so that the bowl doesn't end up smelling like pee. Or also, when I used to do motorcycle camping, a good trick is you can use a pee bottle, which is in the sink. It works when it's the middle of the night and you don't want to sit on or try to pee on the toilet when it's wavy. You're going, oh, because as a guy, when you pee standing up, there's a stream, and if you're moving, it's moving, and inside a little boat, that's not good. Anyway, so I'm going to get all my morning stuff done, and I'm going to eat some Cap'n Crunch. And then we're going to start heading out. We're going to hit Lock and Dam number 5 today, kind of by, I believe it's Winona. And then I'm going to hopefully keep pushing on and try to make it to La Crosse, Wisconsin today. And if everything works out to plan, that's where we'll be anchoring around tonight. So wish me luck, and I will be coming back giving you guys updates along the route. Alright everybody, so I'm going to pull up the anchor and we're going to head on out. This was a beautiful place here at Mule Bend, south of Alma. So next, on to Lock and Dam number 5. Here we are, getting ready to go by Minnesota, Minnesota. Over here, there's like a wildlife refuge off of the river. Too shallow for me to get into, but I bet if you had a little John boat, you could get in over there no problem. Overall, it's a pretty warm day today. Temperature is supposed to get up to 71, so that's good. Don't have to break out any of the hat or the coat or the Carhartt bibs that I packed for my real cold weather sailing or motoring at this point. So everything's going pretty good and to plan. Just hanging out here. It looks like I just have the wheel, and then I have my chart plotter here, and then I put my phone up there. And I can have my Navonics with AIS and everything, or when I'm just sitting here, I set it in my lap, and then it's easier to read. And behind me, with the A-frame, I can just lean right up against this board, so it makes it real comfy. I just hang out and keep the boat moving. All the water I need, or if I need food or anything. I use the gas out of that gas can, so there's no gas in there. That's why it's just kind of sitting there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it in the direct sunlight like that. So, then it's kind of funny. I was telling somebody hey, I have this cross that I have to look at every day. And they went, no, it's a T for Tom that you get to look at every day. I thought that was kind of cool. Made it a little more fun. So, now we can see a little bit more of Masika, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a real little town right on the river. That'd be a real cool little town to live in. Be nice and peaceful. I don't know about in the winter down here. I don't know if it's as bad as we have up in Omania. That's Masika. Remember to go slow and panning. Over here is the wildlife refuge. That better. So when you're going down the river, they have these red and green markers. Red is on your port side when you're going down towards open water. And then when you're coming back from open water, they'll be on your starboard side. So for us, it's pretty easy. We're going to the Gulf here. Keep your port side red on the red side. Keep your starboard green side on facing the green side. And then between them, that's where you know the channel is, where it's the deepest, where the barges are running. And then if you need to pull over and anchor or anything, like here how the red ones are, over here, I don't really see any green ones. There's not always red and green right next to each other. It kind of marks the edge where you don't want to go any shallower. And you can just kind of see the shoreline, so you would stay out of that as a barge captain. So like if you were going to anchor for the night, you would see these red ones here. There's 3 of them. So you know when they come around this corner, they're going to stay on the outside of them. You could get right up in there and then anchor for the night. You would know that you would be safe and you're not going to have a barge run into you. You do have the wake from the barges. So far the wakes from the barges haven't been real bad. When they're going, it's pretty level and not bad. It's just when they start up and they really hit the power of their motors that you really get a heavy wake. So I've always just stayed back, like when they come out of the locks and dams, until they get to their speed that they're going, and then they'll pull down their motor power, and then they'll just kind of cruise. It kind of works like that for our motor as well. Like when you're trying to get up to speed, like 5 miles an hour, you'll give it a little more gas and it'll go, and then once you get there, you can kind of pull it back a little and get to your cruising speed, because you don't need all that power to, you know, get you to speed once you're already going. You kind of have that momentum. Then it saves on gas and whatnot. The stuff you learn about boats. There's the green side marker right there that you would see. And at night they glow, like when they shine the flashlights on them, or the big spotlight like last night we had. I'll show you in the beginning of this video after my wake up part. I'll splice in some video I got and pictures last night of the barge so you can kind of see what it looks like at night when they pass you. So, there is Masika. Beautiful, beautiful country. This side's Wisconsin. And then over on this side is Minnesota. That's Masika. Remember to go slow and panning. Over here is the wildlife refuge. That better. So when you're
you're going down the river, they have these red and green markers. Red is on your port side when you're going down towards open water. And then when you're coming back from open water, they'll be on your starboard side. So for us, it's pretty easy. We're going to the Gulf here. Keep your port side red on the red side. Keep your starboard green side on facing the green side. And then between them, that's where you know the channel is, where it's the deepest, where the barges are running. And then if you need to pull over and anchor or anything, like here how the red ones are, over here, I don't really see any green ones. There's not always red and green right next to each other. It just kind of marks the edge where you don't want to go any shallower. And you can just kind of see the shoreline, so you would stay out of that as a barge captain. So like if you were going to anchor for the night, you would see these red ones here. There's 3 of them. So you know when they come around this corner, they're going to stay on the outside of them. You could get right up in there and then anchor for the night. You would know that you would be safe and you're not going to have a barge run into you. You do have the wake from the barges. So far the wakes from the barges haven't been real bad. When they're going, it's pretty level and not bad. It's just when they start up and they really hit the power of their motors that you really get a heavy wake. So I've always just stayed back, like when they come out of the locks and dams, until they get to their speed that they're going, and then they'll pull down their motor power, and then they'll just kind of cruise. It kind of works like that for our motor as well. Like when you're trying to get up to speed, like 5 miles an hour, you'll give it a little more gas and it'll go, and then once you get there, you can kind of pull it back a little and get to your cruising speed. You don't need all that power to, you know, get you to speed once you're already going. You kind of have that momentum. Then it saves on gas and whatnot. Stuff you learn about boats. There's the green side marker right there that you would see. And at night they glow, like when they shine the flashlights on them, or the big spotlight like last night we had. I'll show you in the beginning of this video after my wake up part. I'll splice in some video I got and pictures last night of the barge so you can kind of see what it looks like at night when they pass it. So, there is Masika. Beautiful, beautiful country. This side's Wisconsin. And then over on this side is Minnesota. Here is a cool shot. We have a really nice long straightaway. Up here we have a bar. And then over there is Lock and Dam. Number 5. So that's the barge that passed us this morning. Caught up to him. So he's going southbound. I haven't contacted the Lock and Dam yet, but on the AIS it looks like there's a barge coming northbound as well. So I have a feeling we're going to end up entering right out in front of it, kind of right underneath the over. So it's a little windy from Hurricane Ian, but we've had a lot of north or south winds coming up to the north here. But I'm happy with that because that means it's warm. It's going to be 70s the next 3 or 4 days, and then it's Monday today. On Friday or Thursday night, it's supposed to be only a high of 40 something, or at least that was up in Lake City when I last checked the weather. Now that I'm a little farther south, I don't know if it'll be a little warmer. Up in Namia where I live, they said it was going to be a low of like 20 feet. It's really chilly. So we'll get a little closer to the Lock and Dam and then I'll get some more footage. Alright, we're about 2 miles out of Lock and Dam number 5. One thing I've learned is it's good to have a pair of binoculars.
So when you're going through these locks and dams, so you can look up and see what's going on with the barges and all that when you're getting up there, and if they're moving. Otherwise, you gotta get up pretty close and you have no idea what's going on. Also, the phone works really nice. You'll be able to see. Go up the back corner. So, that's the plan. Hopefully we don't have to stop too long because of the barges. So, it looks really good for my setup here. I feel kind of like a pro. I had it plugged in there so to charge it, so I've got to change it. So, I'll show you. So I got my radio, my binoculars, I got like my emergency light and a whistle in case I go in, and then my life jacket that auto inflates, and then it's got the hook here that I can hook in my jack line, my safety harness, which is flip it in, next down there, and then I'm able to get to anything and everything in the cockpit here, and I don't have to worry about falling out and dying and the boat keeping going because it's a sailboat and I don't have an engine off, or if the boat is not going to stop. So it's good to be safe. So I've got my safety harness all set up. Jack lines yet where I would set them up. I'm going to tie them to that cleat there and that cleat there, and then I'm going to run it to that bow eye that's right there behind where the roller connects. Now that way I should be able to left and right side, that when I go up there I'll be able to connect the safety harness into, and then you won't fall off. And then if you're up around the mast, you can wrap it around the mast and then put it back into the life jacket. People were asking in the comments to explain my gear more, so that's kind of why I explained the service setup and everything. And now I'm explaining the rest of my setup. Alright, here we are at the lock and dam. I called them ahead and they said the barge is already all through, so we should be good. That's the way. Once we get up here. So I called ahead now. They're all good. They switched the light to green. So all we gotta do is head on in and we'll do the next lock. Alright, here we go into lock number 5. There's some good wind coming off the top of that dam. Sure you can hear we got the motor a little up higher than we normally do to maintain our 5 miles an hour. Alright, here we are in lock and dam number 5. I've got this down pretty good. I asked for 2 lines. I called it a rope by accident. The guy said, hey, it's a line, not a rope. So, about the middle of the boat, and with 2 lines it does pretty good at keeping you against the wall. The first time I went through, I only had 1 line at first, and then I had the guy throw me down a second one because the front of the boat kept kind of going off. So I got it down with 2, and then you just got to hold it like this with 1 hand. These are nice new ropes. Lines, I did it again. Nice new lines. Some of the locks and dams have kind of nasty ones, so sometimes it's good to have gloves, but we don't need that right now. So, just hold on right here, about the middle of the boat, and I sit on the cabin top, and then you go down. You got to make sure that this isn't hitting or catching on anything, because you definitely don't want to have the boat tip over. You don't want to tie to anything. One thing I noticed earlier is having this rail for the Genoa. Looks like the rope ends up going up and down on it, and it's a sharp edge. So So it looks like it's kind of starting to cut that rope. It should be a 4-twine rope. I only have 2 there. So that's the journey. I'll come back once we're going out. We'll just do the whole float down. I believe we are starting to dip. There we go. You start to see water level on the wall of the beach. And it goes real quick. It's not something that goes short. So, see, there we were there. I could look over into it. And now we are going to go down. And I can almost not see over it. Down, down we go. All the lock operators are different. Some of them want you to have your motor running while you're going down. Some of them say, hey, you can shut it off. This guy said it didn't matter. I just left it on. It would be easier in case anything happens. This lock and dam number 5, had a cool little pug that popped up when I showed up. And the guy was saying they're used to the barge guys all giving them treats. He all knows, so they come running out. So, down, down we go. As you can see, we are now down. We probably dropped, you can see from the water line there, maybe 6 feet. Gotta go down. I don't remember, I didn't look. I should look and give you guys the information on how much of a drop it is. So I'll start to do that. The next dam, which is 5A, right before 1.
Not bad. Roger, Captain. Keep it coming. We'll have it ready for you. Okay, back.
This lock looks pretty good. The walls don't have any holes. That last lock I was in, some of them have holes in the side, and you can see that the water goes into it and then out of it every time, and it must eat away the dirt or something behind it, because it'll flood out for a little while, and then at the end you'll get a little bit of dirt. So, as you can see, we're at the end of the line here. So, it must be getting pretty close to being done. Yeah, we dropped probably a good 10 feet on that one. So, not bad at all. One thing I noticed is you got to make sure that these ends don't catch on anything. If it catches on something and then the rope or the line catches on something and the boat's still falling, it will tip your boat over. You do have your radio, call in and say something, but by the time it stops everything, I don't know if it would be that quick. So, oh yeah, do it on this one, all the way over the boat. That's probably a good boat height, I believe, at the very back when we were coming for the trailer. Well, no, that was on the trailer, was like 13.5 feet. So from the boat to the and then that, I can stand under that up to 6 feet. So that's probably 12 feet, maybe 10 feet. I don't know. Coming off. I'll end up getting my Shriners tan. Me and my dad used to be Shriners in the Legion of Honor. And we drove around little Jeeps that looked like World War II Jeeps, and they were electric. And that was kind of cool. But we would always laugh when you would have your fez on, and then when you would get home, you would end up having the rest of the summer you would be trying to even out your forehead. So, we're all done. The doors are opening and we can head off. Alright. Good to go. You're supposed to wait, I think, till they poop.
I went a little early there. As soon as that horn's good, you're good to go. And you can head on out. So, that was Lock and Dam number 5. The guy that waved, he's a real nice guy. So if anybody's coming through Lock and Dam number 5, tell them Adventures in Living sent you. Say hi. So now we're gonna head on out. Holy wind. I thought maybe it was just that windy at the top of the dam, but no. We got some good wind out here. So we push on into the unknown. Anyway, Winona, which is very known. So here with the wind and coming out of this lock and dam, it ends up getting some pretty interesting little currents here. Some eddies, where it does like a, I think it's called an eddy, where it does the swirl. I'm not quite sure. So, alright. Remember, lines, not ropes. Lines, not ropes. Alright. Here we're passing a kind of cool, different, it's not just the barge covered. It's actually got some industrial equipment on it, and it looks like some bridge supports and a few other things. So it's a little more interesting than just your standard barge. Definitely been a nice day out on the river. Minnesota River is an amazing place. There's the wake from it. That barge one isn't bad at all. As you can see, it's already at speed. So when you come upon the wake, it's like nothing. They have their props real nice and deep. But when they are not moving and then they fire up those engines and then they get up to speed, that first little bit there is a huge wake. And then you gotta watch out for it. So, my little problem here with the rope rubbing and that metal rail with the sharp edge, it ended up cutting one of the strands of rope. So we cut that part of the rope off and we redid it. I went back and forth twice instead of once, and then I tied a knot right there in the way, and as you can see, the rope then slips up off of that edge and then doesn't rub on it as much. So I'll end up doing that to all of these other ones. So there's not just one rope going down, it's going back and forth twice. And then do that knot like that, so that, sorry about that, camera action and trying to steer the boat when there was a little bit of a wave, so that it doesn't end up cutting it. I'm glad I caught that before I was going, and all of a sudden we go, oh, where goes the bumper? So, tonight at anchor, I'll do that to all of them. I don't think I have to do the front ones, because there's not that rub rail like that, but I would like to go up and down twice. So there's 2 pieces of rope going back and forth like that, just to give it a little more strength and support. Alright. Here we have Lock and Dam 5A. So I was just kind of checking it out, seeing on the radio here. So we just got done calling it in. They have a barge in there in front of us going southbound. That's that one that went by us this morning, and now we caught up to it. This place is a little tricky on the map. It just shows that it's shallow. So I'm really not sure how deep anything is. So I'm going to try to stick right in these channel markers and hopefully go for the back.
On the chart thing, that's what it shows is the light blue, which is too shallow to go in. So we'll see what happens. I know there's the channel markers, so it's got to be okay. So hopefully I can catch up with this boat that's in front of us. That's the one that we went through the lock with last time. And we'll be on our way. Alright, so there are channel markers through here. You just gotta watch out. So we're just kind of hanging out. They said it'd be probably about 10 minutes. There'll be a red light up there that'll turn orange and then green. And then that's when we can head in. So we're just gonna kind of chill right here, and I'll stay right by this boat. And when it's time to head in, we'll head in. I filmed the process in the last one, so this one I'm not going to film, since you guys already know how it is, and it's just easier not having to run back and grab my phone and all that. So I'll just sit right up there and grab the 2 lines and we'll go from there.
Well, we're all done with that lock and dam, and now we're headed into Winona, Minnesota. Making good time.
Winona, Minnesota. Go under another bridge. Here we are. Winona, Minnesota. Here we have the bridge in Winona, Minnesota. Back over here we have a few barges. Sorry for being so jerky. So, pretty cool. The town definitely has another weird smell from the plant in it. Note to self, never live in a town that isn't on the river that has a plant in it, because they have strange smells. Here we go, under another bridge. But it looks really cool at night. So we're gonna head up over to here, I believe it is the Winona Yacht Club, and there should be a fuel dock. Here's the plant. Here's a little bit more footage of that plant here in Winona. Kind of a bigger little houseboat or touring boat. I don't know what it is. Looks like we have some houseboats or something over there right on the river. That's kind of cool. Not quite sure what they are. Like a houseboat. Just look like sheds. So let me know in the comments below if I'm talking loud enough in the videos. I haven't really had time to watch them. I'm pretty much editing them, videotaping them as I go, and then throwing them on YouTube. So, ooh, that's really cool. Darby Hardee's. That is awesome. I don't know what that is, but that is the coolest thing ever. I had a boat like that. Maybe one day. This is pretty cool. It says Veterans for Peace. I'm not sure
It's like an organization.
People out sailing on the river, or what it is, but pretty cool. Definitely pretty cool. I wish I had a boat like that. Maybe one day.
There's another bigger houseboat or touring boat. And then there is some kind of plant. That is Winona, Minnesota. We're going to go up around this bend and there should be a yacht club right up there. Alright, we're leaving the Winona Marina gas dock. We got to teach the dock boy how to do the rope. He had no idea how to do it. And it was kind of funny. I'm like, you go up to the bar and then you make loops and then you put the loop on there and you grab the one through it and you pull. And the first time he did it, he made one loop and did it and had the rest of the rope and was like, what? And then he did it. I'm like, oh, you got it. Don't be nervous. I'm sure you're pretty nervous right now. And he took his time and he did it and he got it done. So he learned something new. So we're going to keep on pushing to La Crosse, Wisconsin tonight, or today. We've done about like 25, 30 miles, and I would like to get 40 for the day. I think it's about 23 miles. I'll have to look on my track. I'd like to at least get 30. And we'll see. It's about 4 o'clock. Sunset's about 6:30, 6:40. So, it's nice to go right till sunset, but sometimes if you have a nice anchorage, it's better to just go, hey, I can anchor here, might as well do it. So, we're going to push on. Here's some more of Winona, Minnesota. One of the cool things, I need to turn the squelch up on the radio, going through the city, sorry to just be pointing it wherever, is I learned to do vectors on the chart plotter. So it'll tell you how long a standard mile, I don't know what SM means, I gotta look it up. And then it'll tell you based on your speed how long it is to get there. And then if you zoom in, it'll go into feet and tell you how many feet away something is and how long at your current speed it'll take to get there, which is really, really cool and made things a lot easier and more fun, because then if you're going around a corner, you can look up and be like, well, it's going to take this long. So, learning more of the boat and the chart plotter, going through the PDF of the user manual on my phone here while we're going. So, we're all filled up, fueled up, and heading out. Pretty cool rock formation along the river here, south of Winona. And a beautiful, beautiful view. Kind of opens up again. We got about another 1.5 miles, kind of up around this point and in out of the channel. And that's where we'll be anchoring for the night. Back here, we have another beautiful, beautiful sunset on the river. So far, the weather's been pretty good. We haven't had any rainy days or anything. So, definitely good. Weather's working with us. Alright, everybody. Beautiful sunset behind the bluff there that we're in and tucked behind. We're kind of next to a road and the train tracks, so it might be kind of noisy tonight. But we're tucked behind the channel markers, so we should be nice and safe. I'm going to get my rear anchor light on, and then I'm going to go down in and get something to eat and just relax for a little bit. That's the plan for the night. If you guys have any questions about anything we went through today, leave them in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us out. I'll see you guys later.